Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So let's talk about toxic environments and the trauma that comes from toxic environments and how a person is shaped when they're used to like toxic environments. The definition of toxic is an abusive environment. What does the abusive environment mean? This is an environment that belittles you and makes sure that you feel that you're a complete failure without this entity and without this organization. It makes you feel that you are but a speck of dust in the midst of an entire ocean, and nothing you do, no matter how good you are, how quote unquote great you are, and this is what I said, this is actually part of it, it's like the quote unquote great, no matter how great you are, it ain't gonna help you. There is nothing you can do that's gonna change it. Nothing you do is worth it. That's just how the toxic environment is. Now, people who professionally grew up in toxic environments are very sensitive. They might show that they are like tough and they're very tough, but they are very sensitive. They panic at the mere mention of a mistake. They start full-fledged panic attacks getting to them, and hyperventilating and just like dizziness and all of that due to just a mistake. They are the type that flinches whenever you even raise your voice a little bit. They flinch, and they physically flinch. They physically just like go like, okay, as if you're gonna hit them, and you're not gonna hit them. And that's just a reaction from their body, and a reaction through years and years and years of being ruled by this toxic environment. They're perfectionists, and being a perfectionist is not a good thing. If you think that being a perfectionist and having to be a perfectionist is a great thing, oh no. This is your sign that you need to heal, that you have a lot of trauma that you need to heal from, and you need to like just sit down with yourself and just tell yourself that okay. While mistakes is not a good thing, but it's okay to make a mistake every now and then, especially if it's a new mistake and you haven't had the experience in it. That's a new experience, and you don't know everything, and you can't know everything. So it's all right. You're gonna be fine. That's part of a toxic environment. Or people who grew up in toxic environment, you'll find them cowards. Like, they are the biggest coward, because they're just sitting there and going like, if I say anything, if I do anything, I'm going to get hurt. So I don't want to get hurt. So I'm just going to be quiet. And they are bystanders. They are the type that are just, they know there's something going wrong in the organization. If they're in an organization and they see something wrong, they know it's wrong. They know it's going to be wrong. And they do nothing about it, because they're just, again, that's the fear that comes from, see, toxic environment is not a fear of being fired. Being fired is kind of the least of your worries. What you worry from a toxic environment is that it will harm you. It will harm you when you leave it, because most toxic environments do. The level of abusiveness does not just stop at you leaving the company or you leaving the organization. It goes beyond that. They will make sure that they let other people know that you are not the quote unquote great person that you say you are, and the only reason you left them is because you were not a good fit with them, and therefore you did so many mistakes. And they will mention every single mistake you've done and everything, and they will make you sound like you are the worst person ever. That's the problem with toxic environments, is that it goes beyond the organization. Same thing with toxic managers, same thing with the toxic owner. They go beyond. They harm for the sake of harming. They just want to harm you. They just want to make sure that you always feel that you are indebted through them, that you are, if it wasn't for them, you are not going to be where you are now. And this is, if you see an employee who flinches from just a raising of a voice, who's always looking behind them path and acts psychotic, like they're just all the time anxious, all the time this one, know that they have come from a very toxic environment. They will take a long time to heal. They will always be apologetic. They will always be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, even if they didn't do anything wrong. It's just the word I'm sorry has become something that they're just so used to saying, and they genuinely are apologetic. They're just genuinely apologetic. They're like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this, I didn't mean to do that, and you'll find them stuttering a lot. If a company makes you reach to that point, doesn't matter if you don't have another job, doesn't matter if you cannot afford it, doesn't matter if you cannot leave, because the trauma from that is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. The trauma from that, such a toxic environment, that it is going to harm you. It is going to haunt you, and it's going to make you feel like a miserable human being your entire life. Your entire life, you're going to be an apologetic career person. You're just going to apologize for everything, even when you don't feel, even when it's not your fault, even when it's another person's fault. You're going to still be the one who's apologetic. You're still going to be the one who jumps to conclusions, and because you don't want anyone else to, and you feel like a burden. You feel like you're just a burden, and that you are absolutely worthless. And that no matter what you do, no matter what grade, even if somebody tells you that you did a good job, you're never going to feel that you did a good job. You're always going to feel that that's nothing. I've contributed nothing, and you'll find yourself having to literally sit down with yourself and give yourself a positive pep talk of like, you're good, you're actually good. There's a reason why you're in this job. There's a reason why you got into this job, is because you're a good person and you've done good things, and everything is going to be fine, and you need to be calm, and you need to make sure that everything is okay. You need to leave if you are in a toxic environment, and you need to heal if you're in a toxic environment, and don't make anyone make you reach to that point. You are much more worthy than that. They're the ones who are not worthy. They're the ones who have a problem. They're the ones who need to be better. Anyways, I hope this was your pep talk. Bye bye.